Hello, Jamie Rodgers here today from Craftmania with an incredible die cutting bundle for you. Now, quite honestly, this is my favourite manual machine, and we have put together an incredible bundle for you, which is just sort of a no-brainer really. If you're looking for a new machine, it of course is on the run up to Christmas. It might be a birthday present, but present-wise, what an incredible one for you, or for somebody who's about to get into crafting as well. Maybe you know somebody who's only got a small machine or started crafting, hasn't yet got into the wonderful world of die cutting. This bundle is going to be the perfect place for you to start, and you are going to save huge, and I mean huge. The actual bundle we're going to run through, this is worth £154.93, and it's yours for only £99.99. So you're saving just shy of £55. That's an incredible amount to save, isn't it? Think of all the things you could be putting that to, especially with all the dies and bits you could get to add into the machine and the bundle. Or maybe just stop at the $99.99 and know that the loved one you've bought this for, or for yourself if you've requested it, has got an incredible bargain and a great starting place. So with this, we've got the machine, and we'll come back to this in a second, but you know this is going to be here. We're going to talk about it. I'll show you the different ways to use it, tell you a little bit about how I use mine and why, but let's show you what else you get in here. So this bundle, what I wanted was to give you the bits that I felt you need to start crafting. And if you're already a crafter, you're already a die cutter, maybe give you a few little treats and bits that you could play around with and use with it. So the first thing is our Vaessen creative tool. Now, you might have seen some of these rolly tools before, but this one genuinely is brilliant. I've had mine now, I want to say 3 years, might even be longer than that. It's been a long time. And as you can see, it's genuinely my one out of my work case. It goes everywhere with me. You've seen me use it on TV. You've seen me use it in videos. It's one I go back to time and time again. And it's still standing up to the test of time. I'm not going to name names. Not all of them do that. Some of these go a bit bald. I know that feeling. But they go a bit bald and then they're useless. This one has stayed as good as new for all the time I've had it. So we have the rolly tool aspect. Now, if you haven't seen one of these before and you're thinking, why is he rambling on about what looks like a bottle brush cleaner? This is brilliant for taking the bits out of your dies. So when you have pieces like this die set here, for instance, and you've cut it and you've got them bits left in it, just take the tool and roll over the back and then bits will come out. And it saves you going in with a pokey tool and removing each one individually. If you have a difficult bit, if there is a bit that's been a bit too resilient and it won't come out, this tool's covered you on that one as well. On the side here, you're going to notice we have two pink little levers. One of them, if we push this one down, this is going to bring down our little tool like so. This one is designed so if your die is in there and you want to remove it, you can push that underneath and actually work around the edges and the die cut will fall away. It's also a good little burnishing tool depending on other items you're doing, but it certainly helps give you pressure without leaving marks. If we then push down the other side here, that one will come back up. If we push it down fully, out the bottom here will come a pokey tool. So if you do have them difficult to remove bits and you need to get in and take them out manually because of the roller just isn't quite cutting it, you've got that part to go in and do that with as well as using for moving your foam pads across, moving your gems across, all the other reasons you need a pokey tool. And one of the bits I love with this one is because it is nice and neatly stored on the inside of the holder. When I do go into the toolbox that I carry around with me, I haven't got to worry that I'm going to end up piercing my hand because that isn't going to be out. I can make sure that that's stored away on the inside so there's nothing there that's going to hurt me or get to me, which can be quite handy. So it's just a nice little point. But that's your rolly tool. And all of the bits I'm showing you, by the way, these are of course all available separately. If you're somebody who's watched this video, you've got your machine already, and you just like the look of the rolly tool, head on and you'll find that on the Craftmania website. But as part of your bundle, that's going to come included. We then have for you a embossing folder. This is a traditional embossing folder. It's not one of the 3D ones. It's just a standard embossing folder, but it's the floral striped embossing folder. Now, again, if you've watched me, you've seen me work. I love doing things with like a pinstripe effect. I do an awful lot of scored effects with that. So why wouldn't we want to add in some flowers as well? So a truly brilliant folder. Very good for adding inks over the top or polishes because of the whole folder design is very equal. There's no big areas where you can sort of dip into it with your polishes or your inks. It's all very much on one level at the top and the bottom. So very easy to glide over with a brayer or your polish applicators, bits like that to get a nice coverage. So genuinely a good design that I go back to time and time again. Then on top of that, we have got the first one of your Marianne design collectibles. Now in here we have got a whole host of butterfly pieces, which of course, as you can see, will be built up to make some stunning butterfly designs. There's just a little bit here on the back here showing you a few of the ways that you can actually layer them and decorate with them, but you've got that freedom to create because you've got all of the individual pieces. So maybe you want a dotty butterfly, maybe you want to have these sort of wing elements on there, maybe you want to layer these pieces. I've actually seen this turned into a little felt coin purse that looked really, really cute. The nice bit as well is you've got a separate body and antennae part, so if you wish to layer them up in different colours, again, very easy to do. Quite a nice size, so it's going to be a focal point as well, and because of it's quite an open shape, this is one of those ones where you could cut things like felt without it being a problem. When we get to more intricate die cutting, that isn't always possible, but something like this, if you did want to make that sort of felt coin purse, no reason why you couldn't. Then we have another one of our Marianne design collectibles for you. Now this time what Marianne has done is she's given you 3 different floral elements, or 2 flowers and a leaf as such, and she's given you a matching clear stamp. So you can stamp these out and then use your dies to cut them out, and you're going to have some really nice patterns on there which are then perfect for you to go in and colour and add to if you would like to. But again, you've got your 3 components in there, so a great place to start. If you are brand new and you haven't yet got onto your stamping, then you can just use these on their own. You don't have to use the stamps, or if you would prefer, you could of course just use the stamps on their own. But either way, that set is going to come with the bundle for you for your $99.99. Now you might already be thinking, actually, we've got a good machine, we've got the tool, we've got a folder, we've got 2 dies, there possibly can't be any more. There is more. We are also going to include one of Sue Wilson's dies. Now this one is the Noel frame, and as you can see, it's got 4 different dies in here. It's actually part of her Christmas collection, but there is nothing Christmassy about this one at all, and it's one of my favourites because I love a good lattice, so I find this one very handy. Now when we talk about having 4 different dies, and I'll show you this in a second, but we've got 4 different layers, which means we can layer these up in different ways, and we'll chat more about that with the next die set, but it's nice that you can see that you've got that one. Same idea with this set as well as the next one as well. So you've got that die set in there too. Then we go on to your Bermuda die. Now I promise you I didn't know this price tag was left on here, but it's right. This die on its own should be $13.99. So again, when we're looking at your $99.99 price point, over 10% of that cost really is on this die alone. So, you know, when you're looking at the value and wondering how have they given us £154.93 worth of stuff for only $99.99, you can certainly see where their maths have come in if this one on its own is £14. Now this one again is a multi-layered die. You've actually got 6 different components in this one, and I promised you when we spoke about the last one we talked more about that. What that basically means, if you're new to dies, I'm going to bring these pieces in here so we can have a little bit of a play with them. That means that this edge here, that one doesn't have an attached outside or inside die to it. So if you wanted to cut that in the front of your cardstock and just have that as a filigree frame, it would stay there and you could leave that in your card. You could, if you prefer, bring in the outside edge and cut that out as its own layer, like a doily. If you wish to, you could take that one out and you could cut out the middle so it could stay in the card, and you could leave it with a window in there so you could hang something in the window. If you prefer, again, you could use both of these together and actually cut that out as a frame itself. So maybe you're into scrapbooking and you'd like to put a photo in the middle there, or maybe you'd like to use one of the stamps and put a stamped image behind it. Maybe you want the embossing to shine through. So many options. From there, we then have another layer down. Now this layer again doesn't have an outside attached to it, an outside cutting blade or an inside cutting blade. So that means that we could take this one out and we could place that one in the middle there. So our frame or our panel now has more delicate cut work on that. Or if we prefer, we could go to having this one here and place that one around the edge of it. And you've got your very own little mat and layer as such that you could then stamp on top of, add a sentiment on top of, emboss, use it as the landing place for your butterfly to go on top of. Or you could bring in the next die down and cut that one out as a frame instead. So again, another option for you to have it in that sense. You could of course leave that one out of the way. You could put that one into here, and then you could bring that one in and cut out the centre so you've got a slightly smaller frame. And you may have already done the top layer in one colour, then do that in the next one down and layer it one inside the other. Then to top it off, we have this component. Now this one again doesn't have an outside blade attached to it, so could again be cut into your cardstock if you would like it to be, or you can bring in that part and cut round it as we did before, so you've got that as an individual layer, or you could leave that in your card on that part there, so you've just got lots of filigree work. Now I'm probably bamboozling you at this stage, and even in my little head I'm reminding us of them times you see the people with the magicians do all the cups and then ask you where the ball is. So I've probably hopefully give you just a few ideas of how you could layer and cut all of these different components. But that's why when we talk of a die set with so many options and so many dies in it, that's why Sue's designed it that way, to give you that freedom to be as creative as you want to be. And that's why I wanted these style of dies in this bundle for you. Because if you are new to die cutting, let's start you off with the best of the best and let you play with all of these options and see how creative you can get. And if you've been die cutting and crafting for years, then you're going to know why a frame like this is so handy to have in your collection, and you're going to be grateful to have that one in there as well, aren't you? So hopefully part of your bundle you're really going to appreciate. Then as a card maker, I know I can't do anything without a flower. Virtually every card I make has some form of a flower on it. So we're going to also add in for you your stitched doodle flowers. Now these are very quirky and very fun, very easy to work with, and look great layered up in different colours. Personally, my favourite is when I use them with different shades of pastel cardstock, or maybe I ink around the edges with some oxide inks, bits like that. They're just a very fun collection of flowers. You've got your different size heads and you've got your leaves as well. And in this set, you're going to receive 7 different dies. And that is going to be the last component that's actually inside your bundle. So as you can see, you have got your 3 different pieces of Sue Wilson, or 3 different die sets from Sue Wilson. You've got your Sue Wilson embossing folder, you've got your 2 Marianne design die sets, and you've got your roller tool, and you've got your machine, all for $99.99. Now the machine, you might not have seen these before, you might not have seen me use these on TV or in my videos, and you might not have had any idea that you need this. To me, this one is a need. And we'll dig inside the box and show you why a little bit. So let's open this one out. In here, I'm not going to get it all out, but I just wanted to show you how it comes. In here we have your machine nicely packaged, ready for transportation. The machine itself is one of the most robust machines I've ever come across, and I'll show you that with my one in a moment. Your handle will come to you separately, but in there you've got your Allen key, your screw and your washer ready to put that on. Very easily assembly. And that is the only thing you need to add on to this machine. And you can see why they haven't attached it, because obviously that would be a weaker point as such for packaging, also make the box a lot larger. So a couple of seconds, you can add that in place, it's ready to go. On top of that, we have our plates. So let's delve into this little bag, shall we? In here, we have our plates that we need, and these are all ready for you to use. Now, this is the bit I actually want, which is stayed in the bag. So let's go in and rescue that. There we go. So here we have your plates. Now, your plates are all lettered. So we've got an S, we've got a B, we've got an E, we've got a C, and then we've got your base plate. So straight away when we look to the letters, that means that we're going to know easily how to use this machine. And Vaessen Creative have thought of that for us. They have done ourselves a little booklet which opens all the way out, and it shows you on both sides all of the instructions you need, all of the bits you can cut, and the ways to do it. So if today I go a bit too quick, or you've got any questions when you get this out of the box, you don't need to come back and watch me waffle on. This is all here ready for you. You want to know how to stamp and die, it's here. You want to know how to die, it's here. You want to know how to use your folder, it's here. Everything is there for you, all in a very nice handy little booklet that you could just keep by the side of your machine until you've got to grips with it, which I'm sure won't take you long, but it's there in case you need it, and easy to understand. Personally, I love a picture. Pictures make life a lot easier, don't they? They break it down, we know what we're doing, we can see it straight away. It's here, we can run from it. And I think that's one of the nice bits with the instructions from this one. It's not overly complicated. So let's show you the plates. Now, obviously, on videos like this, you are used to people saying, let's show you with the brand new plates, because of, you know, brand new is always good to know and see. I don't want to do that, because if I want you to actually see that the plates have been used and that they last, because of, to me, that's the test of time. That's when you know a machine is a good machine. That's when you know that you're not going to be changing your plates every 5 minutes. So this one, admittedly, I haven't used this one as much as I have. Now, where did I put my other ones? Have I got them here still? Here we go. This is another one that I've got. Now you can see it starting to wear. There's lots of cuts into it, but it's still very flat, which again is a good thing for a machine plate. Now, many of you are going to know that machine plates often curve when you use them, and they end up like a banana, and you've got to flip and flap and boil and shrink, and life is far too short, isn't it? Who's got time to do that with a plate? I certainly haven't, nor do I have the brain space to remember what side of a plate I used and remember to keep alternating it and turning it. It's just not needed. Life's too short. So with my one, I just go for it as I see them and use them. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to start off with some dies. Now, another thing I love with this machine that I think is worth its weight in gold is that we have not only a metal base plate as such, metal topped, plastic bottom, but we have that metal part here. We also have a magnetic cutting plate, which is going to stick directly onto that board and it doesn't move. Now what this means is when we go in for our dies, we've got them flowers that we were looking at that you're going to get in here, your doodle flowers. What that means is we can go to town with placing these down on our plates. So let's go for a couple more. Let's put these down here ready for us to cut. Is that right? Oh, they're the right leaves, not them ones. Let's move those out that way for a second. Not tease you with them. Get so many flower sets, I do get confused. So we'll go for those. What that means is I can put them on my plate. They're not moving. So I don't have to worry about, like you do with some machines, that the second you pick your plates up and you go to your machine, they've all moved, they're overlapped and they're going to get damaged as they go through the machine. We don't have to worry about that. They are on there. They are ready to work. They're not going to move. So it means we can bring in our cardstock, we can lay that on top, we can take our cutting plate and we can pop that on the top of it and we can send it through the machine. Now, again, when we use the machine, you are going to notice it is resilient. It is ready to work. The underneath of the machine is quite a solid build up. The top layers here, these are very strong pieces. You will be very shocked at how robust this is. This is a machine that to me doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere. It also has its little feet on the bottom here, which are little rubber feet. So when it's on your desk, it shouldn't move too much. You know, it's going to move, obviously, but it's not going to move about. You're not going to chase it around your table like you do some, which again to me is quite a nice point. Also have its handle. I'm just automatically taking it and moving it by the handle. Not all machines have that feature built in and they can be a bit tricky to pick up and manoeuvre. With this one, it's the perfect size and weight, and it is a bit of a weight, I'm not going to lie, but we want it to be a weight. We want it to be robust, but you can move it on and off your desk quite easily and come back to it. So let's go back to what we've cut, shall we? So we'll remove our top plate. We then have our cutting pieces. So we can just go ahead straight away, pop these all through, and all of these bits have been cut for us. We can go in with our tool and we can just start taking these out. And we have got our leaves, we have got our flowers starting to come through here. Oh, and you might wonder, where's all this pink come from? This is me, because I actually have, and I don't want to lie to you, I've got one in here, I've got one in one end of my craft room, I've got one in the other end of my craft room, and then I've got one that I carry around with me when I go to the TV. I've got 4 of these, 4 of this machine as well. I know I collect machines. 4 of this one. And because of that, I colour code all of the plates. So this is my pink set. When I held up that plate earlier, you might have noticed this one is my blue plates. So I've got blue plates, I've got pink, green and orange, if I remember rightly. And I do that so I know that all of the plates are being used equally. I know which ones go with which machine. I know which room each plates are meant to be in. It's just a me thing. I try and be organised. So I've just got a little bit of ink off of one of them going onto here. So as we can see, we have done our die cutting. Everything is cut perfectly, whether we're going to use the flowers as such as the positive or whether we're going to use the negative. Depending on the die you're using from your bundle, you might like to use both parts, but we know that they're going to cut perfectly. So we can pop those ones off to one side. What we can then do is we can talk about embossing with it. So we've got the folder in there, haven't we? We've got that ready to use. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to remove that plate because basically, and if you're new to machines, you might not know this, on the inside of the machine, and I don't know how well the camera will get in here, we have 2 rollers. We've got 2 metal rollers, top and bottom. And when we turn the handle, the rollers are the bit that moves, and it's the pressure from those 2 rollers, which is the bit that makes either your embossing folder emboss or your die cut cut. And that's really the magic of a machine. So those rollers don't move. So what we have to do is build up the bits that we put in the middle to the right height. So when they go under the rollers or through the rollers, there's enough pressure for it to cut. It's all quite simple, really. So all it means is we've got to play around and make sure that what we're trying to put into the machine isn't too thick or too thin. It's got to be the right height. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to take the top plate, the B plate, and we're going to leave that to one side. And we're going to bring in our embossing folder, and we're going to open this out, and we're going to put some of our card on the inside of it. We're then going to bring in our F plate, E plate, sorry, need to put my glasses on, E plate. We're going to pop that one on the top here. Now this is a really fine plate, especially when we compare it to the B plate we was just looking at. And that's how the machine is going to work. It's just going to apply more pressure because of the folder is thicker than the die. So we're going to take that and we're going to send this through the machine. Now, unlike with the dies, which obviously are cutting, with our embossing folder, what's happening this time is we're pushing the card in between the actual folder, the positive and the negative, and we're squishing them together so that the pattern transfers onto the cardstock, and it means that we will end up with an embossed feel to the card. So again, we've got them floral stripes going on, you've got that lovely texture, and we can use this as a positive or we can use it as a negative. We can brush our inks over it. We can also put inks into the folders. I'm sure you'll find lots of videos on YouTube showing you how to do that as well. Lots of different ways in which we can use that embossed element, but that's how we can do that within the machine. Another item that we can do with them is actually embossing things like stencils. So I've just got one of the mini creative expression stencils here, but this could be any size stencil that's going to fit onto your actual plate. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to bring in a piece of card again, and we're going to lay that down. We're then going to bring in a rubber mat. Now I've got a tan mat from a different machine actually, but we do sell, and it doesn't come in your bundle, so it is an optional extra, but there is a black rubber mat by Vaessen Creative you might wish to add into your order. It's for if you wish to emboss things like these stencils. And basically what's going to happen this time is we're going to lay the rubber mat on the top here. We're going to bring in the S plate and we're going to lay that one on the top. And again, you might notice here how that one's slightly thicker than the E plate we was just using. So again, we're making up the height difference because the folder obviously was a lot wider than the rubber plate and of course the mask is. So this time we're going to just go for the S plate and we're going to send this through the machine. Now the rubber mat, whatever colour mat you've got will work, but it's going to push down on the card and it will push the card into the holes on the stencil. And how that will actually create, or what that will create for us, is an embossed effect or a debossed effect. So when we hold this up, you can see now how we have that embossing transferred off onto our card. Now this works really nicely, obviously, again as an embossing element. It gives a secondary use to your stencils, but this doesn't necessarily have to be a stencil. You can take a few layers of die cut, stick them together, lay them out on your plates and send them through. You could get a piece of net curtain or lace and lay that out and send that through in exactly the same way. And this mat is just going to push down on top of that and create the indentations in your cardstock. So again, it's something you can really experiment with. It again gives you more value for money out of possibly products you've already got laying around that you can use to emboss. Also, if your dies, and these ones haven't, but if you've got dies that have got a lot of emboss work on them and you really want that to be very proud and embossed, again using them with a rubber mat and sending it through can also cut them and emboss them so that they've got more depth to your embossing. So a rubber mat might be something you wish to add in, but certainly not an essential part of the bundle or how the machine works. But nice for you to know that there are additions if you would like to add them on as well. Another thing I will tell you about is that you can cut down into your magnetic plate. Your machine instructions will once again tell you that if you would like to, you can cut down into this. And by that what I mean is you can use your dies face down on it. It will mark your mat, so you can see here that I've got this scallop die that's coming across the top here from one I've cut in there. I can see a couple of my canvas dies cutting in the darker lines up here. I can also see quite a few of my tea bag folding dies that I've used this with and cut into. And especially when you're using a stamped image like the tea bag folding dies, if you've stamped your image first and you place that down, you can then bring your die in, line it up over the top. And again, because we're working on magnet, we know your die is not going to move, which can be quite a handy way to make sure everything stays in place so you get the perfect cutout of your stamp and die combos. And as you possibly know, there are lots of different versions and ways and brands who do stamp and die sets. That's going to help you no end to keep them in place, and it saves you masking tape everything down, because that can be a bit tricky and not always the most effective use either. So hopefully that's covered how this bundle is going to work for you and all the bits and pieces that are in here for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us in the comments. We'll certainly do our very best to answer them for you. But just to recap, your bundle will of course contain your 2 Marianne D dies. It will then also have your Doodle Flowers by Sue Wilson. It will also have your Bermuda die set by Sue Wilson and the Noel frame and the Floral Stripes embossing folder and the Rolly tool, of course, and Pokey tool combo built in from Vaessen Creative, and it will have your machine as well. And don't forget, this should be £154.93p, but is on offer at only £99.99. I genuinely think you're going to love this machine and get on really, really well with it. Again, if you've got any questions and you'd like to know anything, please don't hesitate to either drop us a comment wherever you're watching this video or give us a call. Our phone lines are always here to help and we'll do our best to answer your questions. 01493 843 666. Daphne's always on hand to help, so please don't hesitate to give her a call. And don't forget that this, of course, can be posted to you within the UK free of charge because it's over £5, which is our cut-off point for free PMP. And if you live internationally and you'd like to order one of these, that's no problem. Just check out the website and see how our international shipping works. You'll find that under the customer service tab. But again, very easy to follow, and hopefully that will help with that as well. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.